right. Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, come on in. Today I'm going to be talking about, is your money foundation solid enough to build wealth? I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to come on in. And so if you see me looking from side to side, it's because I'm streaming on Facebook as well as Instagram. So I will be looking back and forth. So, how is the weather where you are today? Um, I know in some parts of the country, snow has made its appearance, whether we wanted that or not. I know, especially here, I wasn't necessarily looking for all of the snow that we got, but hey, it is the Midwest, and so I should be used to it by now. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Carmen, and I'm a personal finance expert and strategist with Money Choices Today. And so I started Money Choices Today as a way to increase financial literacy in the community. Because let's face it, we do not talk about money enough. And a lot of times it's because we're embarrassed about what's going on. We don't know what to do, or we think everybody is doing better than us. And let me just tell you, that is not the case. People are out here pretending like things are going good and they're not. So, anyway, I started Money Choices today to help kind of um, share information, build up knowledge in the community so people feel comfortable about talking about their money and making decisions about their money. And so I help families create a plan for their money so that they can break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, eliminate debt, and increase their savings and investing accounts. And so I have a website, moneychoicestoday.com. I don't know why I always have trouble saying moneychoicestoday.com, but anyway, that's the website. And so head on over there when you get a chance and take a look. I have different articles about money. I have different challenges and free resources and things like that. And you can check out my services as well. So when you get a chance, head on over and take a look at moneychoicestoday.com. So today I wanted to talk about building wealth. You hear a lot of people talking about building wealth, getting started with like having all these streams of income and using the stimmy, as people like to call it, the stimulus money to start another stream of income and do this and that. But I'm just here to tell you that you really can't build wealth unless you have a solid foundation. And so let's start there. You have to have your foundation in place first, because if you get a lot of money and you don't know how to manage it, then it's going to disappear and you're not going to be able to build wealth. So you need to start at the very beginning and make sure that you have a solid foundation. Another thing is wealth means different things for different people. So you first have to define what wealth means to you. It could mean you want to have millions and millions of dollars. It could mean you want to be comfortable and be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. Obviously, it takes money to do that. But my point is, don't try to live someone else's life or try to mirror your life after somebody else's if that's not truly what you want. You need to define what wealth is for you and not take a look at the people around you and try to build your life like theirs. For some, it could mean traveling, having a large home, having a small home, working when you want to, not working, things like that. So, again, the first step that you need to take before you can determine if you have a solid foundation is before you can start building wealth, is you need to define what wealth is to you. And so, like I mentioned earlier, that foundation has to be solid. And so, let's talk about what happens when it isn't solid. Now, I could be dating myself here, bringing up this game, but that game Jenga, or however you say it, but that game where you put all those wooden blocks together and build it, and then you pull one out at a time, and then obviously somebody's going to pull it and it's going to fall apart and crash all over the place. That's the exact same thing that can happen with your money. One little thing can cause a ripple effect and just cause such financial chaos that you may not be able to recover from it. Another example of not having a solid foundation is just a home. And so, a house is built on a foundation. If your contractors or whoever didn't make it solid, your house can start to lean. And you can see this because sometimes people on their floors, wooden floors and things like that, if you try to roll something down the floor, it should roll straight across. But if it rolls downhill, then that means that the foundation has shifted and your home is starting to sink. And we all know when that happens, that's not a good thing. And it's the same thing again with your money. And so you may try to patch it up or just put something in place, or you see a crack in the foundation. You're like, oh, I'll just put a little patch there and it'll be okay. That doesn't work. Patching up stuff and putting a band-aid on something especially when it comes to your money, doesn't work because it's going to cause a problem somewhere else down the line. Or eventually it's just going to bust wide open and then you will really be in a predicament. And so that's what happens when your money foundation is not solid. So for those of you watching, if you were to stop and think, is your money foundation solid? Could you honestly say that, oh, yeah, mine is solid. I can handle anything. I can do anything, and I'm in a good position. If you're not really sure, I've created this Build Wealth assessment where you can take it and see how solid your money foundation is. For those of you on Instagram, you can head to the link in my bio. I have it there. And for those of you on Facebook, I put the link inside of the title here, so you can click on that and you can take that assessment. Now, so we know what happens when a foundation is not solid. Let's talk about what a solid foundation looks like. It means that you have a plan in place to manage your money. Again, you cannot operate without having a plan for your money. Yes, you may have lots of money coming in, but lots of money may be going out and you're not wanting it to because you don't have a plan in place. I always talk about every dollar that you get should have a job. You decide what that job is. If you don't decide, then your money will just disappear. So a solid foundation looks like having a plan in place to manage your money, having an emergency fund, as well as an emergency plan, having insurance. Now, I'm probably going to get fussed at a little bit because insurance protects your family should anything happen to you. I'm speaking of like life insurance, car insurance, those different types of insurances that protect you if something should happen. So, for instance, if car insurance, if you get in a car accident, you don't have to come up with all of this money to get your car fixed because you have car insurance that would cover that. Life insurance, if something were to happen to you, then your family would have the money to continue on to have your services and things like that and continue on and manage without too much disruption to their life. I mean, think about it. They're already going to be sad and in a bad position. And so then having to worry about finances too is just going to add to it. And I said I'm probably going to get in trouble here because you see a lot of people doing GoFundMe's when that time comes around. And so to avoid things like that, having insurance helps to put measures in place so that people don't have to do that. Also, a solid foundation looks like, again, I call it earlier, having a plan in place for your money. It's a budget. That's essentially what a plan for your money is. Budget is a bad word. I know among some people, they don't like to use that word because they think it's restrictive, but it's really allowing you to do the things that you want to do with your money. And a solid foundation looks like being able to work through most financial issues that arise. So again, talking about that emergency fund, if something were to come up and you need to spend $1,000, is that really going to put you in a bad position because you don't have it? Or do you have it setting aside and you can just grab it, do what you got to do, and keep on going and then replenish that emergency fund in the future? And so again, a solid foundation allows you to be able to handle anything that comes your way. Now, when we talk about having a solid foundation, it should be able to, again, help you to build wealth so that it can last through multiple generations. Now, a lot of people talk about I've heard a lot of people say that, it's their money. They're going to spend it while they're here. They're not going to share it or not going to save it. And that's not the right thing to do. Hi, Nakia. So you really should be planning for the generations ahead. Now, whether you have a lot of money or wealth to transfer, you should still be sharing your knowledge, right? You should be helping them to understand how to manage money, sharing your mistakes with them so that they know what not to do, right? Because that is helping so that they can create wealth as well. And so, again, if you're not including thoughts for the next generations, then you're not really building wealth because it's specifically in the Black community, it's like each generation has to start over. And it's because we're not, again, planning for those next generations, talking and having conversations about money so that everyone can learn. One of the things that I focus on with my clients is incorporating the whole family into the money managing process, having family money meetings where everyone sits down and they understand what's going on. And I'm talking about children as well. Again, it's going to depend on their age, but you can start involving them at an early age by maybe giving them an allowance or something like that and helping them to manage it and saying, hey, you have to save this much, you can spend this much, we're going to give this much to charity, or whatever the case may be. But involving them in the process of managing money will help them to learn those um, management skills now so that when they're older, they can be on a better path and have a head start. And so, again, as you're looking to start building wealth, you got to have that solid foundation and you have to start thinking about the next generations, right? And I just got finished talking about money conversations, right? Part of having those money conversations is going with a team approach. It's not one person making all the decisions. It's not one person knowing and managing the money. It's everybody being a part of the process. Yes, one person may pay the bills and one person may do some investing or things like that. But as a team, you decide on what's important for the family. How are we going to move the family forward? And these are the things that we have to keep in place so that we won't run into any issues. So you have to have a team approach. And that's really important because everybody has a different type of money personality. So they may have different thoughts and different strategies or different priorities in mind. And so that's why it takes working like a team. I actually did a live stream a long time ago about managing your family like a business. So everybody has one goal, everybody knows what that goal is. You have meetings to talk about it, and everybody gets aligned on what's supposed to happen. And so that really helps to establish that solid foundation so that you can continue on the path to building wealth. And so when it comes to building wealth, some of the things that are helpful is having your money work for you. That's the most important thing. Having it up under your mattress is not working for you. Your money should be earning interest, growing all the time. It should not be sitting around just in an account somewhere, not earning any interest. You should always be trying to find ways to grow your money. And you should always be focused on having assets over liabilities. Don't want to have a lot of debt. Now, I'm not saying debt is bad because everybody has debt and but if you have high interest debt, that's not a good thing, right? You want to focus on low interest debt and you really want to have more assets than liabilities. And so those are the things that you need to start thinking about as you think about starting to build wealth. Again, a lot of times people just say, oh, I'm going to start building wealth, but they don't even have a solid foundation. They're not even managing the $100 that they have, let alone trying to build that $100 into $1,000 or $10,000 or things like that and preparing for the next generations. And so, again, I have an assessment. It's called the Build Wealth Assessment. You can head over to my website. It's moneychoicestoday.com / build wealth assessment. The link is in my bio on Instagram, and the link is in the title here on Facebook. So that is what I wanted to share with you today, is to make sure that you have a solid foundation before you start thinking about trying to build wealth. And again, wealth for you may not look like wealth for someone else. And that is totally okay because we are all different. All right. So I want to thank you for coming in and joining me. Make sure you share this information out. And if you have any questions or any comments, make sure you leave it in the comments and I will definitely get back to you. Thanks for joining, and I will catch you on the next live stream. Bye.